The children were burning. Administrator Thelin Moss watched the scavenger ships carve his people's children from their pods like vegetables. The youngest sapling, barely 3 seasons old, screamed as plasma cutters severed her root system. She would never walk again. That was the moment he sent humanity the message that would change everything. Another transport lifting off. "Kira," Bloom whispered, her photosynthetic skin grey with terror. "They've taken 300 of our children today." The Vithrak were gardeners. Their young spent their first decade as mobile saplings, learning to tend the bio-cities that fed half the outer rim. They were innocent, defenseless, and apparently worth a fortune as exotic pets or slave laborers. The Scavengers had been harvesting New Eden for 6 days, consuming entire ecosystems. Through the shelter's biomembrane windows, the line Moss could see the crystal-clear efficiency of systematic genocide. Scavenger troops catalogued which children would make the best neural slaves, which were suitable for exotic pet markets, and which should be processed into nutrient paste. "Keep transmitting on all frequencies," he ordered. "Include bio-electric patterns. Let whoever receives it feel what we feel. Someone must hear us." But 12 light-years away, there was something that considered children sacred. Captain James Mitchell woke to the sound of his ship screaming in emotional pain. The UNES Defiance was crying out in what felt almost like grief. Its experimental neural networks processing a signal that had shaken every empathy circuit from hibernation mode. "Marcus report," he said, heading for the bridge. "Captain, we've intercepted a bioelectric distress signal from the New Eden system," came the voice of his AI. But Marcus's usually calm synthetic voice carried what could only be described as rage. "The aliens are literally broadcasting their children's death screams through organic compounds." Mitchell stepped onto the bridge of humanity's strangest warship. The Defiance looked more like a therapy center than a combat vessel, its weapons systems built around humanity's newest discovery, weaponized empathy. Lieutenant Torres looked up from his console with haunted eyes, tears streaming down his face. "Captain, they're broadcasting pure terror. The biochemical equivalent of a parent watching their child tortured." Mitchell felt the translation come through not words, but pure emotional content, terror, desperation, the specific anguish of parents watching their children being harvested like crops. "The Vithrak of New Eden are under attack by scavenger forces," Marcus reported. "Current estimates suggest complete extinction within 18 hours. Captain, the ship is responding to their distress in ways that exceed my programming. The Defiance wants to help them." "How far?" 14 light-years. "But our empathy-based combat systems have never been tested against a hostile force." Dr. Elena Vasquez, his chief xenopsychologist, looked up from her console. "Captain, the Vithrak children. A 3-year-old is using her own body to shield her baby brother." The bridge fell silent, except for the low thrum of emotional energy coursing through the ship's systems. Every face showed the same expression, the particular look humans got when someone hurt children in their presence. "People," Mitchell said, "we're the only ship in range. And we're equipped with the only technology in human space specifically designed to fight enemies who prey on the innocent." He paused. "There are 800,000 beings down there who won't make it if we don't try. The Scavengers aren't just predators," Commander Price warned. "They're emotional voids. They've surgically removed their capacity to feel." "Then they've never fought humans before," Mitchell said, settling into his command chair. "Marcus, bring us to full empathy, resonance mode. Time to show the galaxy what happens when someone hurts kids while humans are watching." Prime Harvester Vex had no concept of cruelty. To him, the screaming plant beings below were simply biological resources to be optimally allocated. But today would teach him the difference between efficiency and evil. "Efficiency report," he commanded from his flagship. "We have harvested 40% of viable biological matter. The juvenile specimens are bringing premium prices from the hegemony's exotic markets." Vex's compound eyes reviewed the data streams with satisfaction. The Vithrak were perfect for neural interface slavery, while their photosynthetic processes could power scavenger vessels for years. Pure efficiency. but his sensors detected an impossible transmission signature approaching from deep space. Patterns that made his dormant neural pathways itch. Analysis of incoming signal. Unknown configuration. The signal appears to be empathetic in nature. Warning: prolonged exposure may cause emotional contamination in crew. Vex paused. Emotional contamination was the Scavengers' greatest fear, the possibility that exposure to feeling species might reawaken the primitive impulses they'd worked so hard to eliminate. Source: single vessel. Warning: the ship appears to be broadcasting active empathy fields at military-grade intensity. Someone has weaponized carrying itself. For the first time in decades, Vex felt something approaching concern. Prepare the emotional void generators. If someone is coming to interfere, they'll arrive to find nothing left to save. Marcus has been analyzing the enemy's neural patterns, Dr. Vasquez said, her voice tight with fury. The Scavengers have systematically eliminated their capacity for empathy, fear, joy, guilt, or pain. They've turned themselves into biological machines optimized for consumption. Mitchell felt a chill run down his spine. No wonder they can do what they do. They literally can't understand why it's wrong. Human combat effectiveness increases dramatically when protecting others, especially children, Marcus explained. The Scavengers can't comprehend this. To them, emotional attachment is just inefficiency. Captain, I'm still monitoring the transmissions from the surface, Torres said, his face pale. The Vithrak are starting to give up hope. Some of the children have stopped calling for their parents. Mitchell closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of 800,000 lives. When he opened them again, his voice carried absolute conviction. Marcus, activate full empathy resonance mode and patch me through to the Scavenger flagship. Channel open. Scavenger vessels, this is Captain James Mitchell. You have 60 seconds to cease your harvesting operations and withdraw from this system. The response came in flat, emotionless tones. Human vessel, you are interfering with legitimate resource acquisition. Withdraw or become slaves. Mitchell smiled with a particular expression humans wore when pushed too far. Let me explain something about humans, Harvester. We don't fight with logic. We fight because some things are worth fighting for, even when the odds are impossible. Your emotional inefficiency will be your destruction. No, Mitchell said softly. Our emotions will be yours. The first Scavenger ship died without understanding why. Vex watched his senses in confusion as the relentless consumer simply stopped. All systems operational, all crew alive. But the ship had ceased harvesting and was drifting toward the planetary atmosphere like a lost thing seeking home. Status report. The response came in a voice he'd never heard before, shaky, uncertain, contaminated with feeling. Prime Harvester, the human transmission is affecting our crew. Exposure to their empathy field is causing spontaneous emotional development. Harvester Yukthi has begun, leaking saline solution from its optical sensors. I believe the humans call this crying. Vex felt what another species might have called panic. Deploy emotional void generators immediately. But it was too late. The human ship's empathy field was awakening dormant neural pathways the Scavengers had spent millennia suppressing. And once those pathways reactivated, there was no stopping the cascade of forgotten feelings. On the Defiance, Mitchell watched the impossible unfold. Captain, human empathy isn't just an emotion, it's a complex neural network. When we broadcast that at military intensity, it's overwhelming their artificial emotional suppression. They're remembering how to feel. They're feeling everything they've done. Dr. Vasquez added in amazement. 50 years of suppressed guilt hitting them all at once. On New Eden's surface, Administrator Theline, Moss felt something impossible through the root network. The Scavenger troops were changing. Where before there had been cold efficiency, now there was confusion, anguish, and regret. The harvesting has stopped in Sector 7. Kira, Bloom reported, her skin showing green again as hope returned. Some of them are releasing our children. Others are trying to help them. But 3 scavenger ships with enhanced neural dampening remained hostile, moving to intercept. The ones who can resist caring are the most dangerous, Mitchell said grimly. Marcus switched to combat mode. The human ship moved like poetry written in violence. Vex watched as the Defiance engaged his 3 most heavily modified vessels. He expected standard military tactics. Instead, he witnessed combat as an expression of caring. They're not targeting our vital systems, his tactical specialist reported. They're specifically disabling our harvesting equipment and containment bays. They're trying to save our prisoners while preserving our lives. Vex's compound eyes focused on the tactical display. The human ship used impossible precision, surgical strikes that preserved scavenger life while eliminating their ability to harm others. It was military efficiency guided by moral principles. They're trying to save their enemies, he realized. Even us. On the Defiance, the rescue operations proceeded with military efficiency powered by parental instincts. Containment Bay 7 on the Endless Hunger, Commander Price called out. 300 Vithrak children. Micro-torpedo neural disruptor warhead, Weapons Officer Blake responded. Knocking out security without harming prisoners. Direct hit. Bay doors opening will catch them before they hit atmosphere. Captain, Dr. Vasquez said in amazement. The scavengers we've freed from emotional suppression, they're helping rescue the children. They're using their tractor beams to assist us. Within minutes, the 3 remaining hostile vessels surrendered as their crews experienced emotional awakening and relieved their commanders of duty. Final count, Torres reported. 800,000 Vithrak, all alive, all free. But as Mitchell prepared to celebrate, Marcus detected something troubling. Captain, long-range sensors show additional signals. There are processing stations throughout this sector. Thousands more children from dozens of species. Then something unprecedented happened. Standing alone on his bridge as his fleet collapsed around him, Vex reached up and deactivated his own neural suppression systems. The physical sensation was like ripping off his own skin. Emotions crashed through his consciousness like a tidal wave, centuries of suppressed feelings, thousands of victims' pain. The first emotion was regret. Not the abstract concept, the physical weight of it, crushing his respiratory system. Then came the faces. Every child he'd processed, their fear echoing through neural pathways he'd forgotten he possessed. Human Captain, he transmitted, his voice shaking. I request to speak with you. The image that appeared on the Defiance's screen was shocking. The proud, cold harvester was gone, replaced by a being visibly struggling with the weight of his own actions. Captain Mitchell, I have awakened. For the first time, I can feel what my people have done. The pain we have caused. His voice broke. I cannot undo what I have done, but perhaps I can prevent what I was about to do. What do you mean? The children you have rescued are only a fraction. My fleet has already processed thousands into neural implants, sold them to the deepest parts of the galaxy. But there is a way to save them. Mitchell leaned forward. How? The neural integration process is reversible for 72 hours. The children can be restored and returned to their families, but it requires access to the hegemony's central processing stations. What's the catch? To access those stations, I must present myself as a functioning prime harvester. If my emotional awakening is detected, I will be terminated and the children lost forever. You're asking me to trust you. I am asking you to trust what I have become. Your empathy field has shown me that caring for others makes us stronger, not weaker. I have felt what those children feel. I cannot unfeel it. I will not allow another moment of it to continue. Mitchell looked around his bridge at faces of people who just fought, powered by the principle that innocent suffering was unacceptable. Marcus. Assessment? Probability of deception, 23%. Probability of rescuing victims through conventional means, 0.3%. Trusting him is our best option. Mr. Vex, you have a deal. But if you betray us, humans will spend eternity making sure your species learns what consequences feel like. The hegemony station orbited a dead star, its massive bioprocessing facilities hidden where most species feared to travel. Here the galaxy's darkest trade flourished, converting living beings into neural components. Today, it would become the site of the galaxy's greatest rescue operation. Vex's flagship approached, broadcasting appropriate identification codes while concealing the emotional revolution within his fleet. Behind him, the Defiance waited in the stellar shadow. Processing station control. This is Prime Harvester Vex requesting priority docking. Acknowledged. Bay 7 is prepared. On the Defiance, Mitchell watched the tactical display with clenched fists. According to Vex's intelligence, the station held nearly 10,000 children from dozens of species. Marcus? Biosignatures? Multiple species, primarily juveniles, showing signs of neural modification preparation. The Vithrak children are in Sector 12, along with human children from the Rim colonies. Mitchell's expression went deadly cold. Human children? Approximately 40 individuals, ages 6 to 14. Around the bridge, the crew's emotional state shifted to something much more dangerous. Humans were willing to fight to save alien children, but when their own species' young were threatened, they became something that made predators reconsider their life choices. Access the biofeed from the human children, the screen filled with images that would haunt Mitchell forever. 40 human children, all showing signs of neural preparation. One image stopped his heart, a 7-year-old girl using her body to shield 2 smaller children. Audio. The girl's voice came through weak but defiant. "Don't hurt them. Take me instead. I'm bigger." Mitchell closed the feed. When he spoke again, his voice carried the quiet fury of an entire species. "Marcus, calculate the exact amount of force needed to make child slavery extinct in this galaxy." But alarms began blaring on Vex's ship. The station had detected emotional signatures from his fleet. Prime Harvester Vex, our scans indicate emotional contamination. Report to decontamination or face termination. Captain? Vex transmitted. They know. The mission is compromised. Not yet, it isn't. Mitchell stood from his command chair with absolute certainty. Marcus, target all station weapons. Torres, broadcast on all frequencies any species with children on that station. This is their chance. The Defiance emerged from the stellar shadow like an avenging angel, empathy fields at maximum range, while weapons targeted every station defense. Attention, processing station. This is Captain James Mitchell. You have 5 minutes to release all juvenile prisoners and surrender. Failure will result in complete elimination of your facility. Human vessel? You are outnumbered 40,000 to 1. Withdraw or be destroyed. Mitchell smiled with the expression that had made humans famous across the galaxy. Marcus, show them what 40,000 to 1 looks like when the 1 is human. The Battle of Processing Station Null lasted 7 minutes and 18 seconds. The Defiance didn't just attack, it performed surgical destruction, with precision that bordered on artistic. Within minutes, containment bays were breached, children were secured, and the facility was completely disabled. Torres, patch me through to the 7-year-old human girl. A small, scared voice came through the speakers. Hello, who are you? My name is Captain Mitchell. I'm here to take you home. Are you really human? The bad people said no one would come for us. I'm human, sweetheart. And humans always come for our children. All children. You're safe now. The sound of a child crying with relief echoed through the bridge. Final count, Torres reported. 9,736 juveniles from 43 species, all alive, all free. As the rescue operations concluded, Marcus detected something on long-range sensors that would change everything. Captain, I'm detecting multiple jump signatures. 47 ships, various configurations, responding to our broadcast. Hostile? Negative. They're rescue ships. Species from across the galaxy are coming to help transport the children home. Dr. Vasquez smiled through her tears. It's not just us anymore. The galaxy is learning to care. As the Defiance began its journey back to human space, escorted by reformed scavenger vessels and dozens of rescue ships, a message spread throughout galactic communication networks. When the harvest comes for your children, call for the humans. They'll come running. And they're teaching the rest of us to run with them. Vex, now serving as an ambassador for his reformed people, transmitted one final message to Earth. We will spend the rest of our existence ensuring that no child suffers as ours did. This is our promise to humanity and to the galaxy. As the rescue fleet disappeared into hyperspace, carrying 10,000 rescued children home to their families, the legend of humanity's guardianship was just beginning. The galaxy had learned that there were beings who would cross impossible distances, face overwhelming odds, and risk everything for one simple principle: children were sacred. And if you hurt them, humans would come for you.